Okay, Moby Dick swing continues. You have seen probably my sagittal plane action video before. I was doing this, right? So you saw me doing this. Now take a look. That is from, like I told you, wall to wall, side to side, and I cannot move this way. I'm stuck to side, and only thing I can move this way, right? Okay, that's called sagittal plane. And then I was doing this, right? Using pivot or body to go more bouncing like this, right? Now I'm going to give you two more, and it'll enlighten you after you watch the video. So next one is, let's say you're stuck here is the first one. What if you have wall right in front of you, your toe line, and then also wall on your heel? So wall here, your nose is to the wall, and then wall on the heel. So you cannot do this. So that means only thing you can move is, see, like this, right? So if I show you from the side, wall here, now wall in the back, so here, so wall here to here. If you have a fat belly, it'd be very difficult, but I'm getting there, or I already have it. Anyway, so wall here, wall here. You can only stretch like this, and then that's right there, right? So wall is in front, wall is in the back. So front, that's why front, F, frontal. You can memorize, easy to memorize. Front, frontal, right here. So you can move only this way, okay? So I'm gonna show you this way, right? So, but if you see the other one, I was doing this, right? So how do we be able to do that using the same movement here? So if you spread your feet to shoulder width, you're pushing this way, you're pushing this way, you can do that. Push, 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 almost like a soldiers, boom, boom. The Korean soldier sings like this. They're army songs. I never been there, but I watched in the movie. They only move. So right, left, right, left, right, left. Okay? So if you apply that, instead of, watch this, I'm going. See that? Hands and arm only, but watch this. I shift, this follows. And then shift, this one follows. Oh my gosh. See that right there? So in other words, just like nowadays, biomechanics. I'm big on biomechanics, by the way. It is amazing that more scientists are involved in the golf swing. I guess you can make money in this field now. That's why I guess they're in it. But whether they're in for money, but they are contributing big. So they continue to say force precedes motion, right? So if you want to move left, then you have to push opposite. All you have to think about is opposite way. Instead of you moving like this, I mean, that means you're moving it yourself without using the force. You're using just shifting it to turn your upper body. But if you push this way, push with your ground force, meaning you're pushing it like that, pushing it that way, this thing will move for you because you force is going that way, motion is going that way. Same thing with you pushing it this way, that direction, but upper body goes that way, right? So pushing it this way, you're pushing it this way, all right? So that's basically, instead of doing this, this is again the frontal. I'm stuck right here. So I'm stuck right here. Okay. Here. And before this ends it, doesn't it look a little similar? But I'm going side to side. I'm pushing laterally. You see it better if I just take a little step off like that. See that? So that is frontal action in motion using science, instead of you merely going pendulum, going bang, bang like this. You're using the force, lateral force, pushing, pushing, pushing. So they have a bunch of drills with, like, you know, in order to move it like this, you can move it. They're doing this pendulum motion with catapult belt. Okay. You got that? See that? Boom, 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 boom. I'm pushing, pushing laterally. Pushing, 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 pushing. All right, so we done two. The other video was a sagittal, going like this. Going like this. Front and back. Front and back. This one is side to side. Side to side. Side to side. Front and back. Front and back. Pushing side to side. Laterally pushing. Okay? Third one is now circular one. This will again ties into my transverse plane drill. The reason I had to put up two gloves, because when I'm doing this drill, it hurts. All right, so take a look at this. This one is horizontal one, right? Like I told you, if you do this, the hands and arm, you're not using the ground force. So it's not biomechanical way. You're just using it with the hands and arm. But if you push it that way, push it this way, as I go back, see that? Again, you can watch the other video and then it relates to it. You can feel it better if you push, if you split your feet together. One goes this way, one goes that way. As you're going this way, see that? So in other words, and the side way, the horizontal one, again, I'm pushing it this way, this way. Okay? The first one was, I'm pushing it like this. Second one was pushing like this. Pushing, pushing. This one is pushing this way, you're splitting it. Boom, 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 boom. Okay? Once again, so here, here, the turn, horizontal turn is accelerating. And then very easy to do. Once again, you split this way, pushing it opposite direction. Here. If you do it the other way, you're supposed to go this way, pushing it that way and that way. Watch this. It turns it the other way. So when you go this, now when you're pushing it that way, you just, this thing turns it for you. This is a true method or true ways of using ground force, just like a TPI people were talking about. Okay? So this has to be, in my opinion, your daily workout, like a stretching. Especially with you're doing the horizontal torque. This way, like that. See? I didn't turn with my hip. Push this way. This side here, going this way. Oh my God. It's just incredible torque is created because of the force going that way, force going this way. Okay? Now, I don't know how long this video will be. Why this thing using a ground force this way, it is happening, it happens, why it happens. Okay? So, if you're happy with so far, you should stop right now. But I'm gonna go into a little bit more science, okay? This is basically what's happening. If you throw this golf ball, you throw it, it lands it. If I throw it a little bit, it lands it immediately to the ground, okay? So, again, don't get a headache by me mentioning this, okay? So if you hear this often, as many times you can, then it becomes a little bit more familiar to you. Especially, I highly recommend you use ChatGPT or Gemini or other types of AI. And then if you don't understand, a lot of times you can say like this, can you explain Newton's 3 laws in like an elementary level? Then it will explain to you such a way that I'm almost 62, right? It'll give you the answer for you to be able to understand. And then you can move on, you can reread about it again and again. So this is what it first Newton's law means. The object wants to remain same condition. So here it doesn't want to move, just same condition. But once you put a little bit of force this way, right? Then it's moving, right? And then it's moving, you cannot stop it. It will go forever. It will go forever. It will go, what do you mean it goes forever? It didn't go forever. What this means is this. We only can see it in our naked eye. It was dropping, so it didn't go forever. What Newton meant is out of space. Okay? So in other words, if you throw this ball a little bit like this, in space, because start moving, it'll continue to move forever. Forever. Because that is Newton's first law. So let's say if you hit a golf ball in the out of space, it'll never come down. It'll go forever. Okay? So that is Newton's first law. Okay? So why is that important to what we are doing? Okay? So it has to be related. Now, the reason why this is stopping, because in the air, supposedly, right, gravity pulls down, so it comes down. And then if you do it here, gravity plus, I guess that's a friction on the floor or mat, that's why it travels a little bit and stops. But this is a very important concept for, to me, the golfer to understand, even though it's just a swinging. It where the ground force is actually begins. Okay, it begins right there. And the second law and third law, we can talk about that. Okay, so in order to understand then why is matter is this. It's not going to do anything. If you stand here, it doesn't want to do anything. Body wants to remain as it is, unless you do something. That's what the first law is. You have to do something, right? So then, how are you going to do it? Okay, so why is that first law matter? Why is that third or second law it matters? Okay, so let's say we jump into third law. Third law says this: if you're pushing down, let's say with the scale, let's say you're pushing down certain amount, then basically ground says, oh, thank you, I'll push you back same amount. Almost like you give your wife $100 and then next day she goes, I like you too, so she gives you back $100. In other words, if you push back like 2 inches, I don't want to use a kilo, so it's 2 inches, it pushes you back 2 inches, okay, in the opposite directions. So that's why the many scientists now, biomechanics, force precedes motion is where it's come from. So in other words, on a pivot, for example, it asks you to do certain pivot and then have butt sitting in here, weight goes into the heel and then here. So direction is sort of like going back and inward. So weight should be on your heel and inward a little bit, and then you don't want to go like that. Backswing, it wants you to go deep, right? So that's the direction, right here. That's the in position is here. Then according to Newton, what are you supposed to do? Do you do this? No, you have to do opposite way. You push that way, forward. If you push forward, it goes back. You go, oh, push your hip back. Oh, that's not it anymore. In order to go back, you have to push forward. You push forward this way. Okay? You push forward this way. If you forward this way, then this thing goes back. That is using ground force. That is a scientific way, more efficient way to do it. Okay, now, Pete Cowan says, it's like a spiral up. Okay, oh, you go up. That's not how you do it. What do you need to do then? In order to go up, you have to push down. You push down, then it'll push you up for you. You have to do exactly opposite. So, in order for you to go back and up, okay, back and up, okay, then opposite is back, okay, I have to do forward, up, I have to go down. So you have to go down and forward. So if you go down and forward, I'm pushing down and forward. I'm pushing down and forward. See, it just goes up for you. It makes sense? So returning to what we did today. I gotta wear this. Why the long hitter everyone hits it for? Watch this again from sagittal plane. When I go like this, I went down. I intentionally, down, up, down, up. I did that intentionally. But if you go like this is more natural. I push it down so it wants to come up. I push it down so it wants to come up. Wants to come up. This is Newton's third law right there. Third law right there. Okay? Same thing. I'm pushing this way. I'm pushing this way. And then as I do it, this thing moves the opposite way for you. I'm pushing, 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 pushing sideways. Okay? Take a look at this. Once again, I keep putting this on and on. I'm turning this way. I'm turning this way, not merely hands and arm, but I'm using this part to go 130 to 430, 130 to 430, and this thing turns it for you. And then here, 1030 to 430, it turns it for you. Turns it for you. Turns it for you. I'll go into torque next time, or should I just do it now? Okay. Why is this thing here, when I push this way, why this thing is turning this way? Or when I push this way, why there's a circular motion happens? Why I'm going like this? Why is a circular motion happens? Why is a circular motion happen? Circular motion is, this is a circular motion, this is a circular motion, this is a circular motion. That's all called circular motion is torque. When you have tires, wrench, we going like this. See that circular motion? Why is that circular motion happens? Again, this is the explanation from TPI, the Craig Rose, and then basically his explanation of torque is this. The center of mass is right here, here. That's why if you center of mass, it falls. Center of mass is here, it falls. But if you hold it right in the middle of the center of mass, in perfect balance. And then watch this here. If you just throw up in the air, you just go up and down. There's no torque. See that? There's no torque. That's according to science. Now, but what happens is that by doing, when you hold, this is what they call axis of rotation. You're sitting right in the middle. If you push down this way, see that? You start to turn. Watch this. There's a torque. Okay? So you hear center of mass. If you throw up and down, there's no torque. But if you go force this way, there's a torque. So basically, in order to torque to happen, is you have to put force not in the middle, but away from the center of the weight, right there. Either here. Further you are away, it's more velocity, more power. Here is a little bit, because you're closer to the center of mass. So you have to do this. Yeah, you have to do this. Or here it'll be most powerful. Basically, that's what the torque, the biomechanics explain. So what they are saying is then, see this here, if you force it here, see that distance only here. But if you throw it more force here this way, it'll be more powerful. Here's more, this is the most powerful because this is the furthest away from the center. Okay, so let's say you throw in there, boom, like a force of like a scale 1 to 5, just a half. the 5. So 5, 5, 5, 5. Here would be this would be the turn fastest because you have the longest width. That's why you have to have a really, really big, long width is to get you a big power. So anyway, so going back to here, middle, center, and the distance here versus if it's same equal power of speed, say power of 5, I told you here's would be the turn, rotate the fastest, right? So what matters is that if it's same force is applied, distance from the center to the how long, how wide you get is more powerful. That is what they call moment arm. How far is this? And then what kind of force do you put on? If it's same force, then furthest away will be the most powerful. Okay? So according to Dr. Craig Rose, see this here? Our center of mass is right here. So watch this. Did I rotate? No. There's no rotation because center's here. Okay? There's no rotation. I only jumping down. But watch this. If I go like this, see this here now? Center's here. Look at this. Moment arm is about this distance. Look at the distance. How about here? Like this? See that moment arm? So when you see Cameron Champ, for example, at impact, he's like this. His center of mass is right here, and then his moment arm is here. See how wide that is? That's why he's longer than anyone else's. Moment arm. Center's here, more. Okay? So watch this. Center's here. It's gonna be more powerful here? No, if you go like this, look at the distance from here to here. That's why width is more, people are more powerful. Okay? That is why when you do torquing, watch this here. When you do torquing, when you go push this way, your center is tilting it this way. See that? Center's here. Let's put it in sternum. You push this way, so now center of mass is here, but you tilt it this way. That's why there's a torque. Torque happens because you're here and you're here. The moment arm is actually a little bit forward this way. So this thing's doing this. And then when you push this way, because of this, you are now, this motion is happening. Because your center of mass is doing this. Okay? You have to use ChatGPT and then, or Gemini or any other AI, and then just simply ask Newton's 3 laws. Again, I'm not a scientist. I begin with elementary level. Hey, explain to me elementary level, and then middle school, high school. And then you don't have to go any further than that. Okay? So doing those sagittal plane, this, why is the torque is happening? Why is torque is happening? Why is torque is happening? Why is that turning is happening? Okay? So, I'll do one last one with the circular one. You're here, here is a circular can happen by you doing it intentionally. But if you spread like this, see this here now, your distance from here to here, distance from here to here, and you, let's say you split it and put a force right there. So you are creating center of mass is here, okay? But force is coming from this angle and that angle. So moment arm is doing this for you. Okay? I know this is long video, but good luck with your journey. All right.